Good day everyone, I am Naomi Pikani and I am here to discuss about philosophy of education, school of thought, Marxism, and education. First, let's talk about Karl Marx. Developed by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels in the 19th century, focuses on class struggle, economic determinism, and social change. Views society as divided between the ruling class, bourgeoisie, and the working class, proletariat. Education is seen as tool that can either reinforce or challenge existing social structures. There are key tenets of Marxist educational theory. First, education reflects the economic base of society. Schools operate within the economic system, preparing students for the roles that sustain capitalism, wealthier students receive education that leads to leadership positions, while lower-income students are funneled into low-wage labor. So, katong mga dato is advantage kaayo sa ilaha kay because they rich man makakuha sila og mga kurso nga dako og sweldo, like makakuha sila og medicine, lawyer, engineering, kay kaya man nila na naman sila kaya sa financial. But ang katong mga poor nga mga students is limited lang ilahang makuha nga maskwela nila nga kurso. It's because wala man sila kaya, dili nila kaya na nila ma-provide ang financial nga kurso. So kana makita nato ang differences sa duha ka buok nga kay ang dato makuha nila ang ilang mga gusto nga kurso, but ang katong isa sa mga poor is dili nila basta-basta makuha ang mga gusto nila nga kurso. Limitado ra ang ilaha. Next, as schools serve the interests of the dominant class by reinforcing ideology. The ruling class control what is taught in schools, shaping student belief to maintain existing social order. Capitalist value like competition, individualism, and obedience to authority are instilled through education. So, in a classroom where students are taught that success coming from working harder than others. And this way, gipakita jud nila ang real world. Instead nga, mag-question sila about sa mga inequalities, they grew up nga in believing na ang competition, obedience, and individual success are the most important values. This way, this system prepare them for the real world. They're also trained to respect authority without questioning whether the system is fair. Next is the hidden curriculum of values, norms, and belief. Socialize students into capitalist structures. Beyond the academics, students learn unspoken roles such as accepting hierarchy, conforming to workplace expectation, and utilizing social roles. This reinforces class division and discourages resistance. So beyond academic students are taught to accept hierarchy by following teachers' authority. Just a worker obey their bosses. And they also learn about the expectation sa workplace, like punctuality, discipline, ma-meet nimo ang ilahang sakto nga deadlines, and also dapat sad mo follow ka sa rules sa imuhang sa company. In school, those students nga may kaya or katong rich nga mga students, makareceive sila og encouragement to take like a leadership roles, and also sa schools club or extracurricular activities, because naman sila kaya, makaya nila ang kaya nila ang financial. Maong kaya nila nga maka-work sila sa mga mahal nga mga kurso, like dako og kuha nga mga dako sila sweldo sa trabaho. Unlike to those students nga walay kaya or maglisod sila og achieve sa kadto nga mahal og sweldo nga kurso. It's because wala man sila kaya. They may be encouraged to pursue job that require manual labor or service work, often in low-paying industries. Next, knowledge and curriculum are shaped by ruling class interest. School curricula prioritize dominant narratives, often ignoring or minimizing working class struggles, labor rights, and alternative economic system. This ensures that students view capitalism as natural and unchangeable. So, in simple terms, Marxist educational theory suggests that what is taught in schools, knowledge and the curriculum is influenced by the people in power or the ruling class. These powerful groups designs education to reflect their own values, beliefs, and interests rather than providing a neutral of fair view of the world. The idea is that education often support and maintain the power of these elites, and rather than challenging the existing social order or addressing inequalities. They have the role of education in capitalist societies. First, prepare students for the rules and the labor market. Beyond explicit lessons, school teach students unspoken rules of behavior and hierarchy. This hidden curriculum includes compliance with authority, punctuality, and acceptance of social inequality. By conditioning students to accept these norms, schools help reproduce social structures that benefit the ruling class. So, sa school, gi-prepare na ang mga students para sa jobs, future nila. School teach students skills like math, reading, and technology that are needed sa workplace. They also teach students how to follow rules, work on time, and be disciplined things employer want from their workers. For example, in college, they teach the students unsa dapat ang angay nila nga buhaton para motrabaho na sila like sa engineering, medicine, or lawyer, which are mga kaninga trabaho is dako og sweldo. However, like what I said earlier, not all students nga same og opportunities sa mga rich people or rich nga students. Maong uban nga ang students ang matrabaho ra nila is katulang asa ra sila taman ilahang makaya. That's why ang mga rich is mas powerful sila tungod sa mga posisyon nga dako og sweldo ang ilahang mga natrabaho. Like sa katong support is ang ilahang sweldo is dili kayo dako, sakto lang kung i-compare nato sa kato ang mga students nga naay kaya. Maong makita jud nato ang differences between sa ilahang duha. Next, legitimize social inequalities by promoting meritocracy. The education system claims to reward talent and effort, but in reality, access to quality education is unequal. Wealthy students benefit from better resources, tutoring, and networking opportunities, making it easier for them to succeed while maintaining the illusion that success is purely based on merit. The education system tells us that the students, if they work hard and have effort, they can succeed. Ang tawag ana niya kay meritocracy. It suggests nga if maghatag kag effort regardless sa imong background, kung rich ba ka or poor ba ka, if hardworking ka, naa kay effort, naa jud kay ma-achieve. However, in reality, not all students nga same og opportunities like what I said earlier. If rich ka, daghan kag mga resources nga para ma-achieve imong mga gusto, pwede ka magpa-tutor if na kay mga nalisudan, if na mag-help sa imuha, na kay connection. Kung na kay mga connection, mas easier jud nga mas successful ka. And katong mga wala kayo kaya, tong poor, bisan pag same mo ka hardworking og ma-effort parehas mo duha, para sa rich nga ma-effort gihapon, pero if wala kay mga resources, wala kay connection, wala gihapon. Sad to say, in reality, kung rich ka, na kay connection, mas maaprubahan jud ka kaysa sa mga poor nga lisod jud kung wala kay mga connection, walay maka-help sa imuha. Next is encourage conformity and discourages critical thinking about social structures. School emphasizes obedience, standard testing, and acceptance of authority. Questioning societal structures is often discouraged, ensuring that students internalize the status quo rather than challenge inequalities in the system. In school, students are often taught to follow rules, do what they told, and perform well on standard tests. This emphasizes on obedience and conformity, teach students to accept things as they are without questioning the system. Because of this, students are not often taught to challenge the way society is structured. Kaya kung unsay giingon silang teacher, mo naman din ilahang buhaton, di na sila mo na ilahang i-follow dayon. Dili na sila question, maong na-discourage ang students sa mga challenging, kay gituloan naman sila nga i-accept lang kung unsa ang current social system. Wala na sila questions. Last, Perry Bourdieu concept of cultural capital. Privileged families pass down cultural knowledge, language skills, and social behavior that help their children succeed in school and professional life. This gives them an advantage over low-income students, reinforcing class divisions. So, kay Perry Bourdieu, the concept of cultural capitals refers to the knowledge, skills, and behavior that people inherit from their families, which help them succeed in life, especially in education and work. Sa rich family, mapasa sa ilahang mga children ang mga advanced language skills nila, cultural knowledge nila, and social connections. Mong advantage sa mga rich students sa school, it's because nana sila yung mga knowledge or familiar na sila sa mga butang tungod sa ilahang family. Lahi jud pag kung walay kaya kay wala kay mga access same og resources sa mga rich nga students. Bisan pag talented ka or hardworking ka, maglisod gihapon ka og eskwela. Maong makita nato ang difference nila na grabe jud ang advantage sa mga rich students. Maong dali sila mas successful unlike sa mga poor. They have also Marxist critique of education. First is education perpetuates class divisions. Schools do not offer equal opportunities. Students from lower income backgrounds often attend underfunded schools with fewer resources, limiting their upward mobility, while wealthier students receive better education and career prospects. So, education perpetuates class division. Not all students get the same quality of education. So, ang wealthy students go to well-funded school with better teachers, materials, and opportunities, which help them get good jobs and stay in the upper class. While ang poor students often attend underfunded school with fewer resources, making it harder for them to succeed and moving up in society. As a result, education helps maintain the gap between rich and poor instead of closing it. Second, standardized testing and tracking system reinforce inequality. Tests are designed around dominant cultural knowledge, favoring students from privileged backgrounds. Tracking system place students into academic or vocational path early, often based on socioeconomic status rather than ability, limiting opportunities for the working class. So, standard testing and tracking system contribute to educational inequalities by favoring students from privileged background. So, katong mga rich students kay mas daghan mo to silang mga na-experience or knowledge kay tungod rich lagi sila. That's why na sila advantage na makapasa. Meanwhile, tracking system sorts students into academic or vocational path as an early age bisan na kay kakayahan, pero kung based sa imong background nga dili lagi ka mayaman, lisod gihapon ka makapasa sa higher education. Dito lalong mapapakita nga dili jud pantay-pantay sa atong lipunan. Next, private schooling and elite education favor the wealthy. Wealthy families can afford private schools, tutoring, and exclusive college prep programs, giving their children as a competitive edge, while lower-income students remain in underfunded public school with limited access to advanced coursework. So, ang private schooling and elite education primarily benefits wealthy family as they can afford the high quality education. Katong mga students nga mga dato na sila kakayahan nga maka-access sa private school, magpa-tutor if na sila na libugan, na sila na lisudan, and makakuha sab sila og kanang ilahang gusto nga mga kurso sa college. Maong na sila advantage sa academic and also sa ilahang future career. Meanwhile, sa students nga katong low-income families often remain underfunded public school with limited access to advanced coursework and resources. This parity widens the gap between the rich and poor, reinforcing social and economic inequalities through the education system. Gihapon still mas dako gihapon ilang agwat sa mga rich and poor nga mga tao. And last, hidden curriculum conditions students to accept authority and hierarchy. Beyond academic subjects, school teach obedience, punctuality, and respect for authority, mirroring workplace expectation. This social conditioning ensures that students accept their place in the economic hierarchy rather than question systemic inequalities. So the hidden curriculums in schools subtly condition students to accept authority and social hierarchy. Beyond academic subjects, students are taught obedience, punctuality, and respect for authority traits that align with workplace expectation. Gitudloan ang mga students kung sa ilahang dapat buhaton pag na sila sa trabaho. Like what I said earlier nga, ang mga students mo follow sila kung unsay iingon sa ilaha. Dili sila pwede nga mureklamo or mag-question Maong hantod karon na padayon gihapon ang inequalities between the rich and poor. Tungod ga-follow raman sila sa rules, dili sila pwede mag-question. Maong walay pagbago and mas pabor gihapon sa ila ang imuhang background ko kay rich man ka. They have also alternative views on education. First, Paulo Freire's pedagogy of the oppressed promotes critical consciousness. Freire agrees that education should help students become aware of social injustice and empower them to challenge oppressions rather than passively accept dominant ideologies. So, according to Paulo Freire's pedagogy of the oppressed, emphasized the importance of critical consciousness in education. Freire argues that education should not simply transfer the knowledge but should help students recognize social injustice and question system of operation. Instead, dawaton nila ang dominant ideologies, dapat ang students is makilahok sila to transform sa society. Through anang education, mapalaya na sila, like, nana sila freedom, nga instead, mapanatili gihapon tong inequality sa mga rich o poor. Next is education shall empower students to challenge oppression. Instead of reinforcing social hierarchies, schools should encourage students to question power structures, advocate for equity, and work towards social change. Education shall empower students to challenge oppression. Instead of reinforcing existing social hierarchies, schools should encourage students nga mag-ask sila og question about atong inequalities para ilahang maapoblahan ang pagbago nga para magpantay-pantay na sila. This type of education ay maipakita sa mga students ang issue sa kanilang community para mabigyan sila og lakas nga mag-ipon-ipon or mag-collab sila para mahatagan og mas nindot nga pagbago para naana sila quality mahitabo. Next is encourage democratic student-centered learning. Traditional education relies on memorization and authority-driven teaching. Democratic classroom values dialogue, collaboration, and active students' participation in shaping their own learning. So encouraging democratic student-centered learning means moving away from traditional education, which often focus on memorization and teacher authority. In classroom, dapat ma-focus ang mga students sa mga collaboration, mga active participation para sa napasilay mas bag-o nga mahibalan. Mas engage ang ilahang pag-learning sa mga student nga mas nindot nga kana ilahang buhaton para dili lang sila more on memorization para ma-apply sad nila in reality or para sab na sila experience about ana nga butang. And last, call for curriculum reform to reflect diverse perspective. School should include marginalized voices, global perspective, and critical discussion on race, gender, and class to ensure a more inclusive and representative education system. So, call for curriculum reform suggests that school should include marginalized voices, global perspective, and critical thinking discussion and on issue like race, gender, and class. This approach aims to create a more inclusive and representative education system, ensuring that all students, regardless of their backgrounds, can see themselves reflected in the curriculum. Tungod sa mga gipalawak nila ang pagtudlo ang education, become mas maunawaan nila ang mga pagkapantay-pantay and ana sila social justice. So they also have implication for modern education. First, debate over public versus private education funding. Public schools often struggle with limited resources, while private schools receive better funding and cater to the wealthy. This raises concern about education equality and access to quality learning for all students. So the debate over public versus private education funding and resources between differences and resources between public and private school. Ang public school kay limited lang ilahang mga ilahang funding, which means wala sila enough ng money para sa mga update materials and dili sila basta-basta makakuha og extracurricular activities. Unlike sa private, usually have more money because na sila tuition fee, maong na sila funds. This create an issue of fairness. Sa public school may not have access same sa quality education and opportunities sa public school. The concern is that all students regardless sa ilahang background dapat na sila equal. Dapat equal sila og access to equality education. Second is need for critical pedagogy to promote social justice. Education should encourage students to analyze and challenge injustice in society. Critical pedagogy helps them recognize systemic inequalities and become active participants in creating change. The need for critical pedagogy and education means that schools should encourage students to think critically about social issues and question the injustice around them. Critical pedagogy teach students to understand sa mga lain nga mga problema sa society, like sa katong dili pagkapantay batay sa ilahang lahi or sa ilang kasarian or sa ilahang background. By learning to recognize these issues, nabigyan sila ng power nga makipaghalubilo or makilahok sa paghimo og mga positive sa pagbago sa communities or sa world. Third is addressing inequalities in access to quality education. Disparities in school funding, the technology, and teacher quality mean that students from low-income backgrounds face significant disadvantage. Policies must ensure that all students receive equal opportunities. So, addressing inequalities access to quality education means recognizing the gaps that exist in how schools are funded, the technology available, and the quality of teaching. Sa mga student nga low-income background kay ilang school, disadvantage sa ilang mga resources and outdated sila sa ilang mga technology. Para ma-fix nga policies, need to ensure nga ang all students, regardless sa ilang background, dapat nasulay equal opportunities nga maka-receive og high equality education. This would help sa mga student nga naa sila chance nga mas successful sa ilang gusto. And last, role of teacher as a facilitator of critical thinking and change. Teachers should go beyond delivering content. They should encourage students to question, analyze, and challenge societal norms, preparing them to be informed and engaged citizens. The role of teacher as a facilitator of critical thinking and change means that teachers should do more than that, just teach the material. They should encourage students to think critically, question existing ideas, and analyze societal norms. This helps students develop the skills they need to become informed, active, and engaged citizens who can challenge injustice and work for positive change in society. Instead just giving answer, teachers should guide students to think for themselves and understand the world more deeply. And that's all. Thank you.